respiratory system. Respiratory system. Right. So, what is the respiration? What is the respiratory system? We will see now. Generally, this respiration, that is very important to produce energy. What is that? To produce energy. So, whatever the food materials we will eat, that food materials will go into the cells, protoplasm. Okay. So, after entering into the cell's protoplasm, you know, there is mitochondria inside the cell. What is that? Mitochondria is there. These mitochondria can receive this oxygen, whatever we are giving through respiration, and releases carbon dioxide and also energy. Carbon dioxide and little bit of water is also released out in this process. So, this is called anaerobic or aerobic respiration. So, this is one of the important thing we have to note, that aerobic respiration, which is used especially by oxygen. The food materials are oxidation, that is food materials are oxidated. So, oxidation process, this process is oxidation. So, aerobic respiration is very important because one glucose can able to give us 36 ATPs. That is one of the important reaction what we are going to see. Same like that, without oxygen also there will be respiration, that is anaerobic respiration. In that anaerobic respiration only there is 2 ATPs will come. But in our body, the most important thing is to liberate the energy, that is aerobic respiration, by using the glucose, whatever the food we will eat, that enters into the cells. Through blood, the food will enter into the cells, and in the cells the energy is going to be liberated with the help of mitochondria. That is very important in the process of catabolism. What is this? Catabolism. Catabolism means destruction of the food materials to liberate energy. So, these energy we will use it as the expenditure to do all our activities. So, like that, here the catabolism process is there. Okay, digestion is anabolism process, but the respiration is catabolism process to release the energy to do all our actions. This system is derived, that is with if you see the person's nose. From here I am taking, this is the region what we can see, this is the external nostrils. So, through the external nostrils the air will enter into the respiratory tract through the nose, right. So, after entering there is 3 parts, 1, 2, 3 parts are there in the nasal chamber. What is this? Nasal chamber. Okay, what is the separating layer? We know already, this is palate. Palate means here this is oral cavity and this is nasal cavity. Nasal cavity and oral cavities are get separated by palate. So, anyway here we are discussing about the part that is all about, this is all about nasal chamber. Nasal chamber is divided into 3 regions. One is vestibular part, the another part is respiratory part, and the last part is olfactory part. Vestibular part, respiratory part, olfactory part, like that 3 regions are there in the nasal chamber. When the air enters into the nostrils, immediately you see inside our nose there is a small hair like structures are there with the mucus secretion. This hair is nothing but the ciliated epithelium which filters the dust, as well as in the mucus lining also the sticky nature is there that sticky nature will trap the dust particles. So the air is filtered with the help of vestibular part. And the next thing is respiratory region. You see the respiratory region, there is 3 terminals are present. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 terminals are present. These 3 terminals are very important. Why? Because 1, 2, 3 terminals, you can see when the air is passing through these terminals, this is going to get cool or warm. Suppose you are breathing cool air, it will become warm. If you are breathing warm air, it will become cool. Means there will be adjustment in the respiratory part. That's why this is called natural air condition. Which part is called natural air condition in our body? Respiratory part. Why? Because here the air which is passing in this way, that is adjusted to our body. Warm will become cool, cool will become warm when it is very much suitable to our body temperature. So that's why respiratory part is called natural AC. These 3 terminals like structures are called concave. These 3 terminals are called concave. Now let us see the last part here. This is the olfactory part. Olfactory part is specially meant for smell. That is, olfactory epithelium is present. From this olfactory epithelium, there is a olfactory nerve that is going to get connection with the olfactory lobes of the brain. So that's why we can see the smell from this particular area. Generally we will do a type of action like this. When you are going to get the smell, you will do, you are forcing the air to get attached with this particular part. Then from here the sensation will go to olfactory nerve. From olfactory nerve to it is going to brain, olfactory lobes of brain. So like that, that is the special part, that is olfactory region. So like that, the initially external nostrils, and finally this part ends with internal nostrils. Internal nostrils. External nostrils and internal nostrils are there. So like that, the food that air is passing in this way. You can see this. Okay, so another part which is very close with this is esophagus. What is this? Esophagus. This is all about esophagus. In this way, this is food is passing. But today's our topic is respiration. So in the respiration, you can see this is the pipe you are observing with C-shaped rings. This is called trachea. What is this? Trachea. Trachea is also called windpipe. Trachea is also called windpipe. Through this, the air will pass. Now, this trachea is surrounded by a structure called glottis. What is this? Glottis. This glottis has an opening and a closing, a cap-like structure called epiglottis. Called epiglottis. So like that, in our body, especially in the pharynx region, means in this region of our body, you can see there is a epiglottis and a glottis and a trachea. Which side it is? This side is ventral side. Which side? Ventral side. And what about this side? This side is dorsal side. So in the person's body, you can see the ventral side, you can see the trachea. Dorsal side, you can see the esophagus. So here, what is the use of this epiglottis? This epiglottis is useful for close and open the trachea. So when the food is and water, when the food and water is passing in this way, okay, at that time what is going to happen? This epiglottis is going to close the path, especially the trachea is closed. Then immediately the food and water will pass through the esophagus. From here it will go to stomach. Esophagus leads to stomach. But now here what is windpipe? Trachea. Trachea is going to get into lungs. Where the trachea will go? Trachea will go into lungs. Now you see this track, here in this track there is a sound box is also there. You know, this is the box what you are observing here in this area. This is called larynx. What is this? Larynx. Larynx will give sound to us. So like that, here the trachea and esophagus, there is a dual connection in the pharynx region. Once, always the epiglottis will open and it will be closed only at the time of water and food. When we are taking water and food, at the time only this will be closed. Otherwise, always the epiglottis will do the opening. Trachea is a sound producing organ which is made with thyroid cartilage. What is this? Thyroid cartilage. And this is, you know already, this is epiglottis. And another cartilage is there. This is called cricoid cartilage. Cricoid cartilage. Cricoid cartilage. So, and one more thing here you can see in the trachea, there will be arytenoid cartilages. Okay, arytenoid cartilage. And above the arytenoid cartilages, you can see Santorini cartilage. Santorini cartilage. Okay, cricoid cartilage, Santorini cartilage. Carniculate cartilages are also present here. Between arytenoid cartilage and thyroid cartilage, between arytenoid cartilage and thyroid cartilage, there is a vocal cords. Vocal cords. Where is the real vocal cords? Vocal cords are present between arytenoid cartilages and thyroid cartilage. Arytenoid cartilage and thyroid cartilage, there is a vocal cords. Because of the vibration of vocal cords, we will produce sound. That is one of the important thing. Anyway, we are discussing about the trachea, so that's why we choose to discuss about a brief structure of larynx. So like that, the most important thing is vocal cords, because air is compulsory. When we are speaking something, when we are talking something, the air will come. Because of that air, the vocal cords are vibrated, then the sound is produced. So anyway, this is connective system along with the respiration. We will see this, the trachea. Okay, so here in the fifth rib region, okay, you can see this trachea is going to get divided into bronchi. Bronchi. Okay, so this trachea divide into two bronchi. This is called primary bronchi. Later primary bronchi is going to divide into secondary bronchi. Secondary bronchi. Secondary bronchi again divided into tertiary bronchi. Tertiary bronchi. So like that, trachea, bronchi. So what is present inside? Inside the trachea, if you see, there will be ciliated, pseudo-stratified ciliated epithelium is present. What is this? Pseudo-stratified epithelium. Pseudo-stratified epithelium is present in the trachea. Right. So inside, so whatever the structures you are observing here, these are all C-shaped cartilage rings. So what you are observing, these are all C-shaped cartilage rings. Once you see, this is all about the partitions what you are observing finally opens into the alveoli, that is in the lungs. So final destination is here. So anyway, the trachea, first you are observing, this is the part where trachea, you see this trachea is going to divide into primary bronchi. Primary bronchi is going to divide into secondary bronchi. Secondary bronchi is going to divide into tertiary bronchi. Primary bronchi, then secondary bronchi. Once you take the secondary bronchi and again divide into tertiary bronchi. You see, primary bronchi, secondary bronchi, secondary, tertiary bronchi. Then after this tertiary bronchi is also divides into bronchioles. What are these? Bronchiole. What are these bronchiole? Again, primary bronchiole, secondary bronchiole, tertiary bronchiole, and terminal bronchiole, and respiratory bronchiole. So like that, you see total 8 partitions you are observing. First the trachea, primary bronchi, secondary bronchi, tertiary bronchi. Okay, 3 bronchi. Later bronchi becomes a bronchiole, divides into bronchioles. Primary bronchiole, secondary bronchiole, tertiary bronchiole, terminal bronchiole, respiratory bronchiole. Total how many? 5. So like that, here 3, here 5. Total 8 type of small and minute branches of the pipe you are observing, that is windpipe, is divided into many small bronchioles. Yes, you can see. So here you see the size here, it's very big. But when coming to the, it is becoming narrow. So bronchioles are very narrow. So up to the terminal bronchiole, this is all about called conducting part or conducting region. Why? Because this is only useful for passing the air, but not useful for the exchange of gases. It is not useful for the exchange of gases. It is only useful for the passage of air. But the respiratory bronchiole is not like that. Respiratory bronchiole is connected with alveolar duct, and finally it is going to alveoli. So here respiratory bronchi, that is a respiratory bronchiole, alveolar duct, alveoli, these are the regions are specially respiratory part. So you see, once you observe it, trachea divided into bronchi, later bronchi divided into secondary bronchi divided into tertiary bronchi divided into bronchioles. So like that you see, so many partitions you are observing here. These are all looks like a inverted tree. So in the lungs you can see the respiratory tree. What is this? Respiratory tree. So in the lungs, completely inverted tree you can see, the reverse tree you can see. Imagine like this is the trachea like a trunk, and bronchi and bronchioles like branches and twigs. Yes, so this is from here to here, you can see the passage. Okay, from here internal nostrils, and there is a gap, and again here it is passing. So when it enters into the thoracic region, bronchi are divided into trachea, later they are divided into, okay, so like that it is there. But our part is to discuss, that is all about lungs. As you see here in the human body, you can see they are observing here about the 2 lungs, right? In the thoracic region you can see here clearly about the lungs. This is the right side lung you can see, and this is the left side lung. The left side lung consists of only 2 lobes, and it is similarly, if you see these two comparatively, this is smaller. And there is one more thing you can see, between the two lungs there is a space. This space is called mediastinum. Why? Because in the mediastinum there is a heart. Okay, so what is this place? Mediastinum, the space between the lungs. So there are two lungs you are observing. These two lungs are covered with pleura. You see, this outer pleura is almost connected with the mediastinum cavity, but the inner pleura, you can see there is a pleural fluid is present. This pleural fluid is important as a lubricant. So like this, inside each lung you can see there are many small bags like structures. What are these bag like structures? You can see here, this is all about alveoli, all small bags where this pipe is going to open, where that trachea finally becomes respiratory bronchiole and connected with alveoli. Alveoli means small bag like structures we can see in the lungs. Okay, so like that, this is the location of lungs. Okay, and this is the place, mediastinum. Okay, outer pleura and inner pleura, between that pleural fluid. So respiratory membrane. So how the respiratory membrane is formed, we will see. Just now I told alveolar duct. I told about alveolar duct, and into these blood vessels are there. You see, this is all about the blood vessels. Okay, so here you can see the violet color. What you are observing in the violet color, this is the blood. Okay, whatever you are observing in this brown color, this is all about the particular alveolar sac. So you see here, this is alveolar sac. Alveolar sac is made with squamous epithelium. What is this? Squamous epithelium. Squamous epithelium, that is alveolar sac. The next one is, you can see this is the blood vessel, right? This is the pulmonary capillary. We can say this is the pulmonary capillary. Pulmonary capillary. This pulmonary capillary wall is also made with endothelium. This is also a type of the same squamous epithelium. Endothelium, we can call endothelium, which is also made with squamous epithelium. This is also made with squamous epithelium. Between these two layers, what is this? Common basement layer is there. Okay, now you understood, no? This is the bag and this is the blood vessel. So here also you can see, this is the bag and this is the blood vessel. So from here to here, blood capillary, and here to here, alveolar. Right. So total here 3 connections are there, you can observe clearly. Yes. What is this? Brown color, basement membrane, violet color. Brown, white, violet. Brown, white, violet. This is called respiratory membrane from here to here. Yes, see here, same I am drawing here also. Yes, this is. So what are involved here? Alveolar epithelium, common basement membrane, and respiratory, that is blood endothelium. So overall, through these the air will pass from here to here, the gases exchange will take place. You see these 2 arrows. What you are observing in the 2 arrows? One is coming and another one is going. Yes, one is coming and another one is going. Means what is coming? Oxygen. Means what is going out? Carbon dioxide. So like that, the respiratory membrane is there. This respiratory membrane is very much useful for the diffusion of gases. For what purpose it is useful? Diffusion of gases. So like that, see clearly, it's a very clear diagram for you. Right, mechanism of respiration. generally there is two things are there. One is inspiration and another one is expiration. Inspiration and expiration. Okay, inspiration means taking the air into the lungs. Expiration means releasing of air from the lungs to environment. So like that, the passage of air into the lungs and out to the environment, this is called ventilation. What is that? This is called ventilation. So first we will see what is inspiration. See that these are the ribs. So imagine that these are the ribs. Okay, between the ribs there is a muscle, external intercostal muscle. What is this? External intercostal muscle. External intercostal muscle is there. And also from here to here in the opposite direction you can see internal intercostal muscle. So first one what you are observing, this is external intercostal, and opposite to that you are observing the another muscle, this is internal intercostal muscle. Internal intercostal muscle. And so yes, you are observing the ribs here. Okay, ribs here. Coming to the next part, in the side view you can see a dome shaped structure. This is diaphragm. What is this? Diaphragm. You know the diaphragm? What is the meaning of diaphragm? Diaphragm is a muscular layer which is present or which is separating the thoracic cavity and abdominal cavity. So it is almost dome shaped structure like this. Dome shaped structure here it is. Yes, you are observing the dome shaped structure here. This is abdomen and this is the thoracic cavity. So here diaphragm muscles are called phrenic muscles. The muscles in the diaphragm are called phrenic muscles. External intercostal muscles, internal intercostal muscles and diaphragm phrenic muscles are there. In the inspiration, these two muscles are very important. What are these? External intercostal muscles, and what are these? Diaphragm muscles are very important. So naturally lungs itself, it cannot expand. Lungs, it cannot contract in its own. If the space is there, then the air will enter because of the pressure. If the space is not there, if high pressure is created, then the air will go out. So lungs do not act in its own. So for that, here you can see some space is provided. Actually the rib cage is very important for the inspiration and expiration. So how rib cage is formed, let us see now. This is the bone what you are observing. This is all about sternum, and the back side you can see this is the vertebral column, and the sides, what are the sides? Ribs. And posteriorly what is present? Diaphragm. Diaphragm is from anterior posterior. Yes, this is from diaphragm. Sides, ribs are there. Above, sternum is there. Back side, backbone is there. Vertebral column. So like that a rib cage is formed. Dorsally vertebral column, ventrally sternum, posteriorly diaphragm, laterally ribs are present. So now this is the box called rib cage. So in these external intercostal muscles, if they contract, so now we are moving to inspiration. Once the external intercostal muscles are contracted, what happens? In inspiration process, here is the ribs. Okay, so when internal intercostal muscles contract, automatically the ribs will lift up. So see here, up to now this is the rib cage. Up to now this is the rib cage, right? But now when external intercostal muscles are contracted, automatically the ribs will get up like this. So automatically the space is provided. Dorsoventrally the space is provided. Now the next step, phrenic muscles also contract. What are contracted? Phrenic muscles also gets contracted. Then immediately this space is also anterior posteriorly, this will become flat. So the diaphragm, whatever you are observing in this area, this is also going to get flat. So just now I told about this particular diaphragm which is becoming flat like this. So anterior posteriorly also space is provided and dorsoventrally also space is provided. Automatically the negative pressure develops. What is this? Negative pressure develops in the thoracic cavity. So automatically air will enter into the lungs. So this is the process. So in which way the space is provided, then air will enter. So automatically inside the negative pressure is there, means outside automatically this is positive pressure. So like that the space, rib cage is provided anterior posteriorly by external intercostal muscle, okay, anterior posteriorly by phrenic muscles, dorsoventrally by intercostal muscles. Okay, so for this the main muscles are contracting, these two muscles are contracting. So that's why for muscle contraction energy is needed. So that's why inspiration is a active process. Inspiration is a active process, energy consuming process. Next, when air goes out, what is going to happen? We will see now. Exactly opposite to this is all about expiration. Inspiration part is completed. Now we are moving to expiration. You see, just I am changing the words here. Expiration. Okay, so here the air will go out. So how it is going to get happen? We will see now. So in this situation, after inspiration, you can see diaphragm became flat and the rib cage size is increased. This is the actual previous one. Okay, now what you are observing, the rib cage size is increased and it went out like this and it went up like this. Anyway, now we are moving to discuss expiration. Expiration means elimination of air out from the lungs. Elimination of air out from the lungs. At that time what happens, you know, this is whatever the muscles are contracted that are called external intercostal muscles. Before that they are contracted, now they becomes relaxed. What are these? External intercostal muscles. Just now we draw the diagram like this. These are external intercostal muscles, they are relaxed. When they are relaxed, automatically the rib cage will come down. Before that it was up, but now it is not like that. Now it is coming down. It is coming down. At the same, here you can see the phrenic muscles. Before that I told that they become flat, but now they are coming to their original position. Means that is coming back. Why? Because it is going to get relaxed. Before that it was contract, but now it is coming to its original dome shape. Right? So from here it is coming to its original relaxed condition. From here also it is coming to its original relaxed condition like dome shape. So automatically anterior posteriorly pressure is created and dorsoventrally also the pressure is created, especially from the ventrally. Here the force is applied through the ribs and also the force is applied from the diaphragm. So because of that force, positive pressure is created. Positive pressure is created. Now immediately the air will go out into the air. Okay, so here these muscles relaxed, these muscles also relaxed. So here the relaxation is there, here relaxation is there. So that's why there is no need of energy for relaxation. So that's why expiration is a passive process. Understood? So the exactly opposite mechanism we discussed in inspiration. Now we are discussing about expiration. Here the ribs are coming down. So like that you can see, suppose this is the cavity, here the ribs are coming down, and from the diaphragm also you can see again the dome shaped appearance, again it is coming back. So like that expiration is there. It is a passive process. Let us discuss partial pressures. So in the air, partial pressure of oxygen, where in the air the partial pressure of oxygen is 159 mmHg. At the same time, pressure of carbon dioxide is just 0.3 mmHg. Okay, pressure of carbon dioxide is 0.3 mmHg. When it is entering into the lungs, in the lungs you can see the partial pressures are like this. So inspirated air, almost here it is given 160, here we wrote 159, means almost all it is 160. Now it is passing into the alveoli. In lungs you can see in the alveoli it is going to get into 104 mmHg, about pressure of O2 you can see here. Okay, then immediately what about the carbon dioxide there? Carbon dioxide pressure is only 40 mmHg, that is pressure of CO2. Here it is pressure of oxygen. Okay, then afterwards when it is entering into the heart, again it reduces to 95 mmHg. 95 mmHg pressure of O2, and same carbon dioxide pressure never decreases, never increases. In the lungs and heart this is always 40 only. From heart it is going to tissues. From heart it is going to tissues. In the tissue pressure of oxygen is just 40 mmHg, but the carbon dioxide is more. How much it is? 45 mmHg. Because of this minute pressure variation, what happens? Hemoglobin releases oxygen and binds with carbon dioxide. So these partial pressures will continue in the deoxygenated blood, and finally same pressures we can see. Pressure of O2 is as usual 40 mmHg, and pressure of carbon dioxide is all about 45 mmHg. Same the situation what we observed in the tissues we can see in deoxygenated blood. As usually it will come to lungs, where it is traveling, again it is coming back to lungs. Again after coming to lungs, 45 mmHg pressure is going to get into 40. In the lungs whose domination is there? Oxygen partial pressure is more. So like that here whatever is the thing is happened here carbon dioxide is attached with hemoglobin, but here carbon dioxide is released out and oxygen is captured. So like that in the tissues deoxygenation is there, in the lungs oxygenation is there. So here oxygen is loaded, oxygenation you are observing, and elimination of carbon dioxide, but here deoxygenation you are observing, deoxygenation in the tissues. So see here, just observe me clearly. Around us it is 159. When it is inhaled, it entered into the lungs, it was 159, but now in the lungs it is 104. From the lungs where it is going? It is going to heart. So that 104 is going to get down into 95. From there it is going to tissues, different body parts. So there how much it is? 40. So 159, 104, 95, 40. So like that, there is a decreasing in the pressure of oxygen, you can see, towards tissues. In the tissues, whose domination is going on? Carbon dioxide domination. This carbon dioxide 45 mmHg is there. From there, oxygen is deleted from that hemoglobin, that is called unloading. Which one is unloaded? Oxygen is unloaded, carbon dioxide is loaded, and this carbon dioxide along with the hemoglobin will come to the lungs. There will be reversal, we can see. This is all about partial pressures. Okay, so this is very important for the exchange of gases between the oxygen and carbon dioxide. Okay, you see in this chart also you can see clearly 104, 40. Oxygen is 104, carbon dioxide is 40. There it is going to heart. In the heart you can see how much it is pressure, 95. Carbon dioxide is 40 only. Then it is coming and it is passing to the different tissues. You see, this is the tissues. So here is a circle between lungs to heart, heart to body parts. When it is going to heart to body parts, there will be reversal. You see, here it was 95, suddenly it came down to 40. Suddenly it came down to 40 in the tissues. There whose domination is going on? Carbon dioxide. How much it is? 45. So like that, the thing which can observe again in the reverse flow. So in the reverse flow means when it is coming back to the heart, it is coming like this. Oxygen is 40, but pressure of carbon dioxide is 45. So in the deoxygenated blood, what is the partial pressure of oxygen? That is 40. Partial pressure of carbon dioxide, 45. So like that it is coming. When it coming back to the lungs, again you see pressure of 40, you can see 45, but again it will become reverse. So that is one of the important thing we have to note. Partial pressures also plays important role. Because of that partial pressure, the bond between the hemoglobin and oxygen depends because of the partial pressure only. Ventilation or external respiration. External respiration, types of respirations. Types of respiration. Types of respiration. First, ventilation. External respiration. What is external respiration? Just from environment to lungs and lungs to environment. So whatever the air is there in the environment, that is going into the lungs. Okay. From that, from the lungs, next one is diffusion. Okay, diffusion process you can see here, or exchange. What type of exchange you can see? In lungs, what note you can see clearly? Lungs ki blood ki madhyalo unna relation. The relation you can see between the lungs and blood. So here oxygen is coming, oxygen is loaded, and automatically what is going out? Carbon dioxide is going out, right? So this is the diffusion we can see. Next, what the blood will do? Blood will take, this is called a transportation. What is this? Transportation. Transportation. So where it is transported? It is transported to tissues. So here you can take ventilation is the step 1, diffusion is the step 2. This is a pulmonary diffusion. Why? Because in lungs the diffusion is there. So pulmonary diffusion. Next, the transported to tissue. So this is systemic exchange. We can also call systemic exchange. This is step number 3, transportation. Here you can see the step number 4. So here in the tissue, what is going to happen? You can see between the blood and tissue, what type of relation you can see? Reverse. Oxygen is given, carbon dioxide, okay, oxygen is given and carbon dioxide is received. Next, last step, cellular respiration. Cellular respiration. In the cellular respiration, whatever the oxygen is there, you see from here, oxygen is going into the cells and cells are giving carbon dioxide. So this is actual respiration. Cellular respiration, we can also call internal respiration. Internal respiration. So these are the 5 steps you can see. Step 1, you see, between the air and lungs, external respiration. After that, diffusion, lungs to, where it is going? Lungs to blood. Here oxygen is loaded, carbon dioxide is unloaded. So this is pulmonary diffusion. So blood is just only useful for transportation of gases. So this transportation is also very important. So that's why we took here the 3 number for that. And the next one is systemic exchange. In tissues, reverse. In lungs, oxygen is loaded, carbon dioxide is eliminated. But reverse to that, in the systemic exchange, oxygen is delivered, means unloaded, carbon dioxide is loaded. So there are 2 different types of diffusions we can see. Pulmonary exchange is different, systemic exchange is different. Both are completely opposite reactions. Okay, after that, whatever the oxygen is unloaded in the tissues, this oxygen is enters into cells. Now this oxygen is entering into the cells. So after entering into the cells, cell will use, that mitochondria will use this oxygen and liberates carbon dioxide and energy. This carbon dioxide is coming out. So this is actual respiration. This is the real respiration. This is internal respiration, is one of the best method. These are all only meant for transportation purpose and also, okay, not going to give energy, but here we will get real energy. This is the cellular respiration, is real catabolic process. So we today in this class we discussed about the respiratory tract, means from nostril to lungs. Later we discussed about inspiration and expiration. We discussed about respiratory membrane. We discussed about pressures. You see in this chart you can see the pressures. And also we saw how many types of respiration paths are there. We saw this one also. Okay. So, and the simple thing I want to give different types of animals, how they can respirate also we will see. So in the competitive examinations, this is very important. Total how many types of respiratory structures are there? What are these? Respiratory structures. Respiratory structures in different animals. So this is now if you take earthworm, okay, there just body wall is there. There is no particular respiratory system. So there is a moist body wall. Through the moist body wall, gases exchange takes place by diffusion. Simply we can call the diffusion. There hemoglobin is dissolved in plasma. Hemoglobin dissolved in plasma. Not in cells, not in blood cells. It is dissolved in plasma. This is the unique feature. So that hemoglobin which is there in plasma, which can directly exchange the air with the environment through the body wall. That is in earthworm we can see. Suppose if you dry the skin of the body wall of earthworm, it will die because of suffocation. Anyway, next you coming to arthropoda, generally crustacea. In crustacea, you know, prawns and crabs. So in the crustaceans, there is a special type of gills useful for respiration, and gills are the respiratory organs in the fishes and also larvae of amphibia, and also in the urochordata. So and hemichordata, their gills will help in the respiration. And another one is the important thing, if you see the insecta group, you can see the centipede and millipede. Centipedes and also called millipedes. Centipede and millipede, you can see centipedes are called chilopoda. Millipedes are called diplopoda. In that animals, there is a special pipeline system that is called tracheal system. There is a special type of system called tracheal system is present. So in earthworm, body wall, in crustaceans, gills, in insecta, tracheal system is there. Trachea are the respiratory organs. Okay, when coming to the highly developed animals like adult amphibia and reptilia and aves. There in these three animals we can see these are the specially made lungs. This is the best adaptation for terrestrial life. So that is very important to respirate with air, interact with air. And other special organs are there. Cloaca is also respiratory organ. Cloacal respiration we can see in turtles. You know, marine chelonia, marine turtles, cloacal respiratory organ is there. Cloacal respiratory organ is present. Next, respiratory trees, one pair of respiratory trees we can observe in the echinodermata, holothuroidea. In the class holothuroidea we can call sea cucumbers. In sea cucumbers there is a special type of respiratory organs called respiratory trees. So another one is there, parapodia. In Nereis, parapodia we can see in the polychaeta of annelids. Also we can see the respiratory organs helps in respiration, parapodia, respiration in polychaeta. So like that, different types of animals have different types of respiratory organs. Here we discussed about few, that is body wall, gills, trachea, lungs, cloaca and respiratory trees and also parapodia. In other echinoderms we can see that in other echinoderms dermal papillae is also there, foldings of skin. Okay, so like that, here some respiratory structures also there. Okay, so in this class we discussed about respiratory system. So how it is arranged, in which animals that system is developed, in which animals what are the additional structures are there, what are the structures helps in respiration, so on so.